Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome, everybody, to a first official edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen. Brought to you by 43 North and Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case on Georgia Boulevard. I am Duane Steinel, joined by, from somewhere on Elmwood Avenue, here in Buffalo, New York, Connor Hurls. We were at the game together.
We met in person for the first time.
We met in person for the first time. Didn't get a picture, though. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't do that.
We should, before you leave, we should.
Yeah.
But I digress. A very emotional pregame, doing homage to Rick Jenneret, RJ, unveiling RJ way outside the arena, video packages, the montages, the whole shebang. And I don't think I've seen a team come out flatter on an opening night than the way the Buffalo Sabres did tonight.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. Specifically the hockey side of it. As you mentioned, the atmosphere in the building was as good as I've seen in a long time. I haven't been to as many games as you have, but from someone coming from out of town, I haven't lived in Buffalo, at this point for 14 years. I haven't been to too many Sabres games. I haven't been to too many Sabres games with a full house, no less. The emotion pregame was really amazing. I got there at 5:30. So I saw it fill up throughout the night. We watched warm-ups. We watched the pregame ceremony with RJ and everything else. The emotion was there, and you could tell how much it meant to the team, to the organization, to the fan base. And as you said, the Rangers knew what to do. They had a game plan. They got up early on a questionable I would say backdoor rebound play that Devin Levi is not at fault for. We can talk about him a little bit more, but I would say that once they got up, I noticed very, very early on, they went into a 1-3-1 trap. And the rest of the game was really ugly. It was a really ugly game because they knew exactly what to do to stifle the Sabres offense. And the Sabres somehow do not know how to handle that type of defense. And it's going to kill them all season long. They play the Islanders on Saturday. We're going to do the exact same thing.
The Islanders are going to watch this film and be like, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And Don Granato said in the postgame too, they weren't, and he pointed to JJ Paterka's goal as a perfect example. Is Owen Power's shot was blocked, but we were able to break them out of that structure with that play, and Paterka followed up and scores. We weren't doing enough of that, and I tend to agree. With that being said, I guess the question remains, and I tweeted it out earlier, with the emotions that were running high and just everything that was going on, pregame, that they should have been ready to skate from a wall, and they weren't. They were quick it didn't show up for the final 20 minutes.
The hits were there. The hits were there. Jordan Greenway specifically, I thought had a really good game. Darlene's tabletop hip check in the first period was amazing. I think
we'll get to Darlene in a second.
The intensity was there, but the execution wasn't.
I think Darlene should have been sat when they were up 3-1 after he took that stupid fucking penalty. He should have been stapled to the bench. for no reason at all whatsoever. Puck is behind the net. He goes and cross-checks a man right into his own net for literally no reason at all and takes a penalty. And that's just when we're starting to find our feet finally. That's who we're going to call our next captain. I'm not trying to say, oh, Darlene shouldn't get the key, but that type of fucking behavior when you're down 3-1 trying to get back into a hockey game, that is inexcusable. He should have been stapled to the bench. And that's where Don Donato as a coach needs to do that.
I think it's tough to sit one of your best. I mean, he's not even just one of your best defensemen. He's one of your best offensive playmakers.
But when do you but Carls, when do you start holding people accountable?
I mean, you
gotta hold them accountable, dude.
Of course it's game one, but like I don't think until tonight we've ever thought of Darlene as a reckless player. Have you?
No, I'm not saying.
No, therefore, it's not a pattern, and you don't sit him because of it.
I disagree right there. You got to staple him. He should. He put you in a. He took momentum away from you.
Oh no! I mean, I'm not arguing with that. It was a bad play. It was a bad play, but you don't sit. You don't sit your best player because of it.
I mean, we can agree to disagree there. I think.
Yeah, I just think like there's a fine line, right? Like, of course, like that took momentum away from the team, but he's still a guy that can like create chances in a way that no other player on this team can.
I just hate the decision. And he needs to be held accountable there.
Of course, and I'm with you. If it becomes a pattern,
man, I don't care how good you are, you have to be held accountable.
If it becomes a pattern, then you sit him, but not tonight. I get your frustration, and I understand like why you think that, but you can't sit Rasmus Dahlin in a game like tonight. Like you can't do it.
All right. I mean,
you know what I mean, though. Like, it is what it is. Like you can have accountability and whatnot, but like he's still one of our best defensemen and best offensive playmakers. It is what it is. Like he made a bad play. I don't think he was bad tonight.
The only players I think that were good tonight were Devin Levi, Jordan Greenway, Zach Benson, and Connor Clifton. Me personally.
I personally don't think Zach Benson had the best night.
I thought he was first on a lot of pucks
compared to the preseason. I don't think he showed as well as he did.
Why? I mean, because he didn't show up on the score sheet. Sure.
No, not even that. Like I don't
know. I liked his game. I personally did. I think he won a lot of puck battles. He showed no fear. He was in on one of those scrums with Casey. Like you're making your career NHL debut as an 18-year-old playing.
No, yeah, it's a tough ask.
Rangers, I was fine with Zach Benson's game.
No,
everybody else that bugged me a lot.
I wasn't discouraged by any means, and I think the penalty that was called on him was absolute bullshit. The Ranger player was holding his stick while that was called. I think the refs in general were pretty bad tonight. Something I looked up post game, the amount of blocks the Rangers had, 23 blocks. Oh, as Mauricio. Hey, Mauricio, great minds think alike. You're wrong, though. They had 23 block shots. 23, which is potentially a regular season record. I tweeted out at one point that they were treating it like a playoff game, which I thought was kind of embarrassing. It was the type of game that was made sloppy really early. And the Rangers are the type of team that can do that. And the Islanders are the type of team that can do that tomorrow. Where's California sunshine? How is the pool party sunrays? Must be. Use punctuation, Mauricio. I can't read your sentences.
Yeah, Mauricio's back with a vengeance.
I'll say this. The Sabres have started off strong in a lot of seasons in recent memory. They haven't faced adversity early on in a lot of different seasons. And I think this is good. I think it's good for them to realize their faults and for them to realize that they cannot just like skill their way to victory. Like there are teams that are going to play them tough. And the Rangers are a really good example of that. Like the New Jersey Devils play the same way the Sabres do, but like not every team is going to play like that. The Rangers mucked it up tonight, and they made it a disgusting game. It was one of the worst games I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, it was bad, and it's hard to play against the trap. It is. They clogged up that neutral zone when they were in their own zone. They took away passing lanes, and what bugged me was that as offensively gifted as Buffalo is, moving the puck into the offensive zone, you try and create lanes intentionally. You hold pucks too long. I felt they were holding pucks way too long. When there was a lane, they weren't taking the shots. Listen, you weren't going to score off the rush today. You weren't. You just weren't.
No, well, I mean, they did once.
I mean, sure, yeah, off a block shot. That's not off the rush. Like, that's off a block shot.
Also, I will say JJ Peterka had a good game tonight.
Peterka had an okay game. Yeah.
I thought he created with his speed, and that's what he's going to do all season long.
I thought the only guys to me that stood out were, again, Levi, Greenway, Benson, and Clifton. Because Clifton was constantly engaging physically.
Greenway was great.
Get Henry Jokiharju off the second pairing immediately. He's making the same boneheaded decisions he was last year. And we said this on Two Goalies One Mike. I said, listen, it's not for a lack of skill. It's not for a lack of
awareness.
Shot. He's a good puck handler. He's a good skater. He just doesn't have it up here. It's not up here. Like on that first goal, Power has the man locked up in front. He has his man taken care of. You need to stop watching what's going on over there and be aware of what's on your backdoor side. And he does that constantly. And it's like, it was like playing for as long as he did with Ristolainen, and it just rubbed off on him.
Yeah.
Like, it's mind-boggling. It's like almost Ristolainen.
From the same country. Yeah, it was bad. Let's talk about Levi though. Like I was walking out and I was going through all 4 goals. I think if he played the game of his life tonight, we still lose 2-1.
Like in my opinion, that Panarin goal, there isn't a goalie in the National Hockey League that's stopping that shot.
No, but I will say this though: like if he's playing the game of his life, he's stopping it. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that like he did fine. He gave us enough chance to win.
Yeah, they definitely could have.
Like Samuelson, even on the second goal, Samuelson didn't tie up Kreider, and he was wide open in front for the tip. There were a variety of different instances where they left him out to dry, and that cannot happen. It cannot happen the entire season. It
can't, and it literally just you can't sit here and tell me. I had a lot of optimism when they went out and got Eric Johnson and Connor Clifton. I still have a lot of optimism. I didn't hate Eric Johnson's game tonight.
I mean, he almost had a goal.
He did.
Rang it off the pipe.
He did. And I just don't agree with – I don't know. What do you do defensively? Like, you're not going to have it every night offensively.
I mean, I really do not hate putting Clifton with Power. And then you figure it out.
That was the plan when we first signed him. That's what we all assumed. Like he was going to be the guy on the opposite side of Power. He was going to be Power's Samuelson, essentially. And then you start the season with Jokiharju again. And I know we had Matthew Fairburn on, and we kind of talked about under the radar guys. And Jokiharju was one of those guys we talked about. And a guy who I didn't even realize he was injured as much as he was last year and all he was playing through. I'm like, I would like to see him show up and be the guy that we were all excited about when we first traded for him in the Nylander deal. And he has not even been a shadow of himself from that year. He's just regressed every single year. And we can't have this again. We just can't. You can't. I mean, I don't care if it means bringing back Riley Stillman up in the lineup, a guy who's going to play hard. Because honest to God, last year, we were the softest team below the dots in our own end. We were. No question about it. You can't even debate it. We were. We lacked so much physicality in front of our own net. It was gross. And we can't have that again this year. Not with a goalie, a rookie goaltender who, again, tonight, as we said, bailed us out a lot tonight. He made a lot of big stops. He made a lot of great saves look routine tonight. as you pointed out, he could have the game of his life, and you're still losing 2-1.
Easily could have been 7-1.
Easily.
I say you don't burn the tape because you gotta go back and look at what the Rangers did to stifle us offensively. But it is a home opener. There's a lot of emotion. Of course, the Sabres are better offensively than what they showed tonight.
Yes.
I do think they need to take a hard look at what they do to adapt when a team goes into the trap, because it's killed us in the past. It has absolutely killed us. They've dumped the puck in, but dumping the puck in is a turnover if you don't have a guy to retrieve it.
Mm-hmm. And
so
that's where you need your speed. That's where you need your
exactly.
speed.
That's where you need Peterka. That's where you need Greenway. That's where you need Benson. You need a definitive plan in place when you're going through the neutral zone where, yes, one guy is on the right and he's dumping it in, but you need a guy going balls out to beat that defenseman, because otherwise they're going to have guys that are going to have puck retrievals. They're going to get it to their wings and they're going to get it out of the zone. And guess what? That's a turnover. Yeah. That is a turnover. And the only way to beat the trap is with speed. You get past their defenseman, you retrieve the puck into the offensive zone, and you gain possession. Possession is everything, and we had none of it.
None of it, man.
We had none of it. We had none of it the entire game, maybe at certain points in the second period. I think there was some momentum right before Peterka scored, but there was no possession. Obviously, the block shots were a huge issue. But
just
that's
not having their heads picked up, just shooting directly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, like, do a pump fake. Do a fake shot. Like, if you know that they're going to go down on every attempt, pull it back, do a little toe drag, and then throw it on net. I know it's easy for us to say that, but at the same time, they had their head down and they were just throwing pucks into shin pads.
Yeah, all like that one
entire
play in 18 seconds. I don't know if I've ever seen that many block shots in 18 seconds.
That one penalty kill from the Rangers, Pete Blackburn said it was like one of the most heroic shifts in NHL regular season history.
It was like it was a playoff game.
He tweeted, he said it was one of the more heroic shifts I've ever seen in regular season history.
Literally,
because it only happens in the playoffs.
It was like it was Game 7. But
and honestly,
Rangers. Listen, credit to the Rangers. They wanted to win. They wanted to come into our barn after and Devin Levi's regular season, home opener debut, and spoil it for him, like he did in his NHL.
I mean, they have a lot to prove. They have a lot to prove as a team. They're an older group. They signed Blake Wheeler this offseason. They didn't make too many impactful moves. But guess what? They have one of the best defensive cores in the league, and they have the best goalie in the league.
And they have one of the best two-way forwards in Sabres history behind their bench in Michael Pekka,
who could have been on the Sabres staff.
And I said it in our chat, and I'll say it again. I think outside of maybe Dan Girardi, I think Don Granato has the worst staff in the National Hockey League.
Not great.
Matt Ellis isn't going to get it done, man. I don't know. Like, I think personally, he should have surrounded himself with former head coaches. You know what I mean? Like, guys who have been to the playoffs, not a bunch of guys who haven't, that have no idea how to get there. At least not in a coaching sense. Dan Girardi knows how to get there as a player, but like, you got a bunch of guys on your staff that don't know what it takes to get there at the national level. Like, I don't know. I just, not even Matt Ellis. Matt Ellis doesn't even know how to get there as a player. Like, get out of here. Like,
yeah, no,
it just drives me nuts.
I will say that as disappointing as it was, it's nice that there are 81 games left.
Yeah.
And it's nice that you can look at a game like that and go, yeah, we didn't have it tonight, and you can move on and figure it out. You've got the Islanders on Saturday, and then you have 3 games at home next week. And as we've talked about before, they've struggled at home recently. Like, if you can't get up for a full barn on opening night honoring Rick Jeanneret, what game are you going to get up for? Are you going to get up for a Tuesday night game against the Calgary Flames? Like, that was Devin Levi's debut against the New York Rangers. So,
and look, like, and to that point I said earlier, do these emotional pre-games, are they good or bad sometimes? Because, they tend to be dragged out. Which they were. And listen, as a fan, I loved watching that video montage and seeing Vic's family on the ice. But at the same breath, I mean, does it suck the emotion and the energy out of you watching something like that? Or should it make you want to skate through a wall?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like they shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I'm not saying I'm not trying to make an excuse. It's just a topic.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. I think it was a bad matchup. They got down early, which you can't do against that team. And then it is what it is. Igor Shesterkin made some amazing saves. Like, he was really good. And
we didn't challenge him a lot the first 40 minutes, though, man.
It's not going to get any easier because we face likely the second best goalie in the league and the second best defensive unit in the league on Saturday.
Yep, and Sorokin and the New York Islanders. And is that a home game?
You know how the Sabres have played in that building in recent years.
Yep.
So
terrible judgment to let Pekka go, and I think Ellis is a better bench coach. Kevin is loyal to his Harbor Center roots. There might be something to be said there because a lot of those guys are Harbor Center guys.
I can't fault Kevin Adams too much today.
No. We'll see what happens. We have 9 games. We have 9 games of Zach Benson. To find out.
I think this team's got a lot of character, and they'll respond.
I hope so too. They are together in this, man. Like we know that they care, and we know that they acknowledge how much this means to us, and I think that goes a long way. So, with that being said, I'm losing my voice. You're out on Elmwood. I don't want to take up too much more time. This has been obviously game 1 of NHL season. Sabres lose 5-1. Did not go as planned, but again, we have 81 more games. 98.7% of the season still remains. So,
hey, if you guys aren't worried, we're not worried.
Yeah, I mean, I am not worried quite yet, but I am discouraged. So
we'll see what happens on Saturday.
With that being said, this has been brought to you by 43 North and Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case on George Urban Boulevard. I am Duane Steinall for Connor Hurley. I'll hang up and listen, and we will talk to you on Saturday. Oh, and actually, by the way, thank you for everybody who did join along in the 2 goalies, 1 mic game thread today. We tried something for the first time. It definitely received some engagement, so keep it up if you did follow along. I did see Sabres Hockey Derek or something like that. He was in a lot of that stuff.
We're gonna do some live chats throughout the season. We'll take some questions, and we want as much engagement as we possibly can have.
Yep, I agree. And I'm excited for what's to come. A lot of exciting things this year that we've talked about behind the scenes. So that being said, I'll hang up and listen, boys and girls. We will talk to you on Saturday night. Have a good night, girls.